Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my exploits in Space Agency. I'm your host, the Ion Driver, and today I just want to explain why I love the Ion Drive so much by showing off one of my most basic and beloved spacecrafts that I have, which is my Ion Tug. So if I go on over to my sandbox here, go to my most recent sandbox that I've been using, I have a very nice little structure over here, the Ion Tug. Now, this is a fairly basic design, and it's quite effective. I'll go ahead and start moving it. It uses four separate directions using two ion thrusters that are connected. Now, if you haven't used the ion thruster before, you should know they're not very powerful. They're, for a lot of people, they didn't really see them as being too terribly useful, but they don't use fuel, they use electricity. And for a lot of people, that's a little bit of a difficulty because the only thing powerful enough to really power these things is going to be the nuclear reactor or an absolute ton of solar panels or something. Yeah, my collection of ATVs over there. It's not really, it's just a fun little thing. And this is actually a very interesting design because I actually utilized batteries. And with the battery packs over here all being recharged from the solar panels, it actually works out pretty well. The slow charge rate isn't actually that big of a deal. Let me go over here to where I was using it. Actually, it already. Did it seriously? It already recharged? Yeah, it already recharged for all the directions here. Fully recharged bank. Even though it doesn't generate much power, even using a ton of power from two thrusters, ion engine, it'll still recharge really fast. But there's a few things about this which makes it really, really interesting. Of course, all four of the directions, north, south, east, west, are going to be on individual, completely separate power grids. Of course, it's not connected. Right here, it's connected, disconnected, connected, disconnected. And that is by design because when it's connected, it will go ahead and connect to every other ion thruster that is connected to the network. And at first, I thought this was a little bit of a problem and that I had to work around. But actually, I find that it's actually one of the best parts about the ion drive because you can make things like this, and then you can do all sorts of fun things. Like, for example, clockwise rotation becomes not that hard. And there you go. And then I go ahead and go on over here and do counterclockwise. Just wait for it to turn a little bit. And there we go. Just going to wait for it to get in line a little bit more. And as you can see, I have my little grabber handle here for grabbing whatever I need. I've used this little tug for grabbing things that went way the heck out to the middle of nowhere. And it's become something that I really can't live without for doing large projects because, you know, more often than not, it was an entire section of a space station that just ended up disappearing all the way over to the sun or Jor or Emma or somewhere else. And I really couldn't afford to just have it just disappear. So I'd go ahead and collect it using this tiny little drive, tiny little tug. And let me go ahead and stop this rotational. It's kind of bugging me. But it's actually a really nice, a little bit finicky. There we go. Stop the rotation. Little tug. But, the no fuel thing, the fact that I can run it forever It can really go as fast as I want it to as well, although it will take a little while to get it up to speed. And that's okay. I mean, just look at how far we are from everywhere. We're 257, 258 from home. It's a little bit hard to see with my other waypoints there, but we're getting places. Not very fast, but we're getting places. And it will never run out of fuel. I can run this forever, and it will never, ever, ever have to get refueled. It's not going to run out of energy. It's not going to run out of anything that I need because it's just goes. It's like the Everetta Bunny. Just want to keep going and going and going. So, anyway, this is one of my most basic designs. It's very useful. Took a little bit to build it, but I found that it was overall completely worth it, especially when you have a large project that has over 100 pieces. Generally, one or two of them are going to go off into the middle of space. And you could use a tug or some other various fuel using item to get that piece back to where you need to be. But generally speaking, that's going to cost you a lot of fuel, especially your thrusters to change your direction and turn yourself around. And I don't have any of those limitations with this. So I highly suggest it. Anyway, that's really all it is for here. I'll go ahead and do a quick sneak peek of what I generally like to use it for. Let's go ahead and see if I'm going to crash into something. I totally am. I'm going to crash into my hospital. I wonder if I can slow down enough. I don't think so, but we'll find out. Doesn't really matter. I'll just reload. But it is, of course, as you can see, there's the hospital down there. That was fun too. That was another area where I would use the tug every once in a while because things would just go out into the middle of nowhere. And because it had so many identical, repeated parts, it actually did end up having a few like giant sections that would just fly off into the middle of the unknown, and I had to go grab them. Hey, I was able to decelerate in time. That's actually kind of incredible. These engines are so weak, but no fuel means I don't have to worry ever about being stranded out in the middle of the galaxy. So, the ion drive, my favorite drive, the most useful drive, just a fantastic, beautiful thing that with batteries and a solar panel, you can go anywhere for pretty much free. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. This is the Ion Driver signing off. Thank you for listening to me rant about my favorite piece of this little game, Space Agency. Cheers.